Hey guys, All Cars and Bikes here, and today we are test driving this beautiful 4th generation of Škoda Fabia equipped with a 1-liter 3-cylinder 81 kilowatt 6-manual engine. Let's get right to it. Look at the first glance, the Fabia looks very nice. Compared to the 3rd generation, the previous one, this one has matured, both in size, in looks, and in what it offers. This is the Monte Carlo line, which is the sporty one, pretty much fully equipped with everything except navigation and digital cockpit, which I don't mind. I personally think that these look much better than the digital version of said cockpit. The navigation is a bummer, but at the same time you can wirelessly or even wirely mirror your phone with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, whichever you use, whichever you prefer. This one is equipped with a 6-speed manual, 81 kilowatts or 110 horsepower engine, 3-cylinder. For the Fabia, it is good enough. It's not the worst, it's not the best, but I think it gets the job done pretty well. I'm not going to talk about it very long because we've already driven the Scala, which is pretty much the same interior except these vents or these door handles. So let's get right to it. To kick up the engine, you have to press the clutch down and the button from the side here. So we do right that. Let's turn off lane assist as in every car from Skoda that we've test driven so far. And let's reset start data. Bam, there you go. Since start has been reset, and let's see how this car fares. Safety first, belts on. Start, stop, off, and let's go. This Fabia in Monte Carlo comes with the 3-sided steering wheel, the sporty one, which is the one that I prefer. Also was in Scala, also was in Octavia RS, also was in Enyaq. It also has heating of the steering wheel with the press of a single button, as the Scala did. So this car is pretty much the same in terms of accessories and capabilities as is the Scala. They are very similar. Right now, after Scala has received its facelift or will be receiving it, but we've already seen the pictures of how it will look, we can see that they are trying to make the Scala look like a combi Fabia, and they are excelling at it, to be honest. This Fabia is a very small car. It's really not for a family. It's maybe for 2 people and that's it. 2 people and a small dog. I'd say not more. Could be less, of course. If I were to get this car, honestly, I wouldn't go for this engine that it is paired with currently. It is, again, a company car, a demo car, and if I were to buy this car myself, I would definitely pair it with a 1.5 TSI engine, as is in the Scala, but with automatic transmission. The handling of this car isn't bad at all, actually. They've turned it into a bigger Fabia. The 3rd generation was very good already, and you could think of it as a daily drive car for the city or for some country roads, definitely. I would not take it on the highway, not with this engine, definitely not. See, it's not the worst in terms of consumption and its acceleration, but it's definitely not the best, and I can see myself getting better engines or better cars for the highway. So you have to think of the Fabia, that's the 3rd generation by the way, as a car for city driving, a car for back roads driving, or definitely not as a car for highways. You can daily though, easily. It's very comfortable still, even in the Monte Carlo line, which of course makes the car feel a bit more sporty. It still feels very comfortable. This is the one which is 8 inches Bolero. It can wirelessly or also with a wire transfer or mirror your phone, so that you can see Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, or even through Bluetooth you can connect it only as a hands-free phone. So the accessibility is very nice, and it's easy to control everything, really. What I do like about these cars, about the smaller ones, and you definitely know that, you guys who watch the videos frequently, you know that I don't like it when in Octavias we don't have, and Enyaqs we don't have any buttons for the AC, and you have to press everything on the screen. Well, here, as in all those small cars, you actually control it right here, so that's good. You can put it in auto mode, which it is right now. You can add the temperature or lower it down. You can also completely turn it off. This is good. This is easy, and I feel, well, safer using it than using it on the big screen, which of course maybe has navigation, but navigation isn't everything, is it? Now, suspension test. So as I said, this car is still pretty comfortable compared to, let's say, the RS Octavia. That was awful. This is a bit better. It's not the best, definitely, but it is much better than it was in the Octavia. I couldn't even speak in the Octavia properly. This is good. If you actually know how to push this engine, if you know how to drive with it, I don't want to say it's fun, but it's okay. You get your fair share of speed and acceleration, which is what we're getting to easily. We're reaching our 0 to 100 launch control place. Let's put the car into sport mode then. And now let's see how fast the car can go to 100 and then to 0. I'm expecting it to do a bit better than in braking than Scala or Octavia, but we'll see. Okay, let's do it. And to 0. Okay, so the braking was very good. The acceleration is underwhelming. This engine has 110 horsepower and 200 Newton meters of torque, which definitely is, well, it's the low tier of cars, basically. It's every 3-cylinder car that's being made, whether it be the Polo, Fabia, of course, Corsa, or Kia Ceed. There's so many cars that are being made with this type of engine, and it doesn't matter if it has 110 or 115 or 120 horsepower, it's still going to behave pretty much exactly the same. The speed is going to be underwhelming for acceleration. Maybe, of course, we did it a bit uphill, but still, you could feel the lack of power that this car has at higher speeds or when you want to accelerate. We're going to see that in the spirited drive part, but as I said, in town I would not get this engine. I would buy this car, yes, but it would have to be with a 4-cylinder 1.5 TSI engine paired with automatic transmission. That's probably the best engine that this car can give you, so I have no clue or see no point why would you not get that engine over this anytime. Of course, probably price. Definitely get a 1.5 TSI engine in this car. It's a shame they're not doing the combi version, because I think it would be widely accepted and liked. But we're stuck with this small car, which could be a hot hatch with a proper engine. Because with this engine, as you will see in a few seconds, and it is definitely not a hot hatch. Finally, our first overtake in this part. Never happened before. But I have to say that it feels very stable while driving like this. It can slide pretty nicely. I'm starting to grow fond of it, really. At first, when I first sat in this car today, with this engine I was not impressed at all. But slowly and steadily, I'm getting to the part where I'm like, okay, this is enough power. This is good. This is more than enough for our roads. And as you can see, it is more than enough. This is a small hatchback that's made for, I'd say, first timers. And now, don't be offended, please, women, because of its size. And that's also the main group of people who buy this car. Women, they are. I sell these cars. I sell Skodas, and I know the groups of people who buy cars, and I can safely say that Škoda Fabias are mostly bought by young people, and mostly women. Okay. And he's letting me go. Thank you very much. Okay, see, this was, yep, thank you, love you. Completely forget about these every single time I drive here. Well, the Fabia, as I've said, has grown in size and has matured, definitely. If you compare it to the third generation, excuse me while I actually fangirl here over this beautiful Porsche. Oh my god, that's a beautiful, beautiful car. Oh yes, good looking car. I wish I could get one for testing. Anyway, where was I? Yes, the Fabia has matured. If you compare it to the third generation, where the suspension wasn't that good, I think I had one. I had the 1.2 TSI with 110 horsepower, so pretty much the same engine, except there was one more cylinder, and I have to say, that engine was better than this one. Yes, this one has more pull, of course, but the 4-cylinder had better consumption on the highway, and it was more flexible. You could push it more than this 3-cylinder. Although I believe that it was slower to 100. So, yes, there are things that you can't have. You can't have everything in one package, definitely. Unless you buy an M3 Touring, then you definitely can get everything in one package. Not bad at all, not bad. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to turn off traction control. And let's see if he can slide. Okay, can. It's not bad. Let's see if he can slide here. Okay, that's actually kind of acceptable. And now highway speeds. As I said, I would not buy this car for the highway, definitely not. It's not good on the highway. It has not that great of an acceleration in higher speeds and higher RPMs. And even though it clocks at about, I believe, 5.5 thousand RPM, where it gives you the maximum power, definitely doesn't feel like that. So right now I'm cruising at 138 and my consumption is, okay, this is downhill of course. If you want to keep it that way, you have to go at least 6 liters, which is okay, of course. It's still more than okay for a daily driver, but there are things that you are missing on the highway. For example, the noise reduction of this car is pretty much non-existent at high speeds, and I feel like I have to be talking more loud than I did on those roads right there. But hey, other than that, you could daily this car, even on the highway, if you can lower your speeds. If you could go like 110, 120, then I believe that this car is okay for the highway. You can put on your adaptive cruise control, which this car doesn't have, but you can put it in a Fabia. And then definitely, if you put it like 120, then the noise will not get so bad and the acceleration will still be okay, but the consumption will stay the best, really. At 120, it's probably, or 110 with the Fabia is probably the best. I used to have this car as a company car, as I did the Scala, and I used to daily 200 kilometers every single day, and I found out that 110 is the best on the highway. You get around 4.8 or 5 liter consumption, which is enough for you to do about 800 kilometers per fuel tank. This one has the bigger fuel tank, which is 40 liters, and I think it's enough for a Fabia, because again, you're not expecting people to buy the Fabia to drive it around highways mainly. You expect people to buy this car to drive it on the back roads and in the city, and their 40 liters of petrol is more than enough. Right here I want to see how fast it can go, but too bad there's too many cars today. Doesn't matter. I believe this car could go 160 and still be stable, maybe even 170. Then you could start feeling some shakes. But again, you do not buy the car for driving fast. Too much wind, in my opinion. And again, I'm starting to stop hearing my voice, so I don't really want to be too loud. But 160, will the Audi move? Yes, he will. Lovely, thank you. I'm going to thank that guy. Okay, 170, and not only the wind is getting too bad, but you can start feeling the car is getting a bit nervous, a bit unsteady. It's still manageable if you're a bit experienced, or if you can drive, or if you do daily drives, then it's still okay. But you definitely don't want your first time driving 170 in this car. You might get nervous as well. Now, my driving impressions, I completely skipped those, I'm very sorry. This car is very good for city driving, for country riding, even for some sporty driving, if you know how to manage your throttle, if you know how to play with the speeds that you're at. Also, shifting is very key in this car. Thanks to the Euro 6 norm that we have for emissions, this car is very drowned out in the beginning, and you have to know how to play with the clutch and how to shift properly. Otherwise, you're just not going to get what you should be getting out of the car, or what you could be getting out of the car. Definitely playing with the clutch here and downshifting and upshifting properly is key if you want to go for a more sporty drive in this little car. And now, of course, ultimate all cars and bikes rating of this car. I'm comparing it to the Scala because they are very similar in driving, in the feel of the drive. I'm fine. But the Scala felt more steady. I'm not talking about the engine here. I'm going to get to that in a second. With the suspension, the Scala of course has the upper hand. It's also a bigger car and has more weight, and it feels more steady in turns. So, because the Scala is like a longer Fabia, you can compare it to it. With this, the Scala gets a point above Fabia with the suspension. When it comes to the engine, you could also get this engine in a Scala, and in Scala, this engine is completely bad. It's just not good whatsoever. The engine, okay, but you have to get it with automatic. In manual, this engine is not good at all. Like, no, nope. That's just a big nope right there. But what would I give this car out of 100? Well, hard to say. I would go for an 88. Solely because of the engine and because of how unsteady it becomes at faster speeds, which is not a great issue. The engine gets 10 points down, and the handling at fast speed gets only 2 points down because it's not a key issue with the car. You're not expecting people to drive this car very fast. So 88 it is for me. And now I'm going to stop talking, and you enjoy a bit of city driving and how the car feels and sounds on a normal drive through town. I hope that was enjoyable for you, and you got a little taste of how the car feels driving around the town. Now, 2 more things I have to do before I can say goodbye to you. Rear camera, completely the same as in Scala. Again, works great. You can see things very sharp and clearly in there. Also sensors with beeping and visual. Nothing much to say really. Let's put it into neutral, handbrake on. Now window down, all electric, all 4 of course. And now the world famous horn test. I mean, it's suitable for the Fabia, of course, but it's kind of weak. It sounds like you don't have enough power in the engine. We're not going to give you enough power in your horn. That's my opinion. Guys, thank you very much for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, and comment on this video to give it a little boost in views. And I hope to see you in the next video, which is going to be very enjoyable for you. Goodbye.